So, welcome to another video. If you guys don't know right now, my voice is messed up. I'm losing my voice right now, and I said in my community tab that I would take a break, right, just to heal my voice. But right now, the report just broke that Jrue Holiday got traded. So I'm gonna make it through this video, and then I'll keep taking my break until my voice is back. But I just felt like I had to make this video. Jrue Holiday was traded from the Trailblazers to the Celtics. It was a great trade for both sides, in my opinion. But the trade consisted of Jrue Holiday going to the Celtics for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, a Golden State first round pick, and a 2029 Boston first round pick. Right. So the trade basically is that these two teams are getting exactly what they want. The Trailblazers now have an actual starting five. They have, well, they have Malcolm Brogdon at the one. If we just take it by best player at each position, or let's say Scoot Henderson at the one, right? Anthony Simons at the two. Small forward, run whoever, if we're being honest, because the small forward position, they don't really care about it that much. Power forward Robert Williams, and center DeAndre Ayton. These are a core of young guys, and they're probably going to trade Malcolm Brogdon away. But when we talk about the Trailblazers, they really are doing it correctly. What you notice is that they're trading their picks, like just for Dame, they've already gotten DeAndre Ayton and a lot of picks. Right, it's like 4 or 5 picks now that they've gotten just for Damian Lillard. And this is the way that you trade a superstar. You trade a superstar to a team for good assets, then you trade those good assets for medium assets, then you trade those medium assets for bad assets, and then you trade those bad assets for terrible assets until you're gonna have like a lot of space, a lot of things. Because it's like right now, right? You traded Dame for Jrue Holiday and DeAndre Ayton. Those are two good assets. One is an all-star level player, defensive player of the year caliber type player, leading veteran point guard, just an amazing player, right? Who can be really good on most teams. Then you have DeAndre Ayton, which is a young center who's developing and doesn't want to be in Phoenix, but wants to be anywhere else. So that's a really good asset since he can rebound, defend, whatever. So you keep Ayton for your future, and then you're like, okay, Jrue Holiday, he's a great asset. Let's trade him to a great team for good assets, So they trade him to the Celtics, right? Jrue Holiday to the Celtics. Then you have a guy for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, 2 first-round picks. You take the first-round picks, and Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams, you know what you do with those two? You go and you trade them, right? Maybe not Robert Williams. He can be there for the future. He can be one of the starting power forward, probably, or maybe even just try Ayton at center and not at power forward and try Robert Williams at center. But, he works really well with the youngness of the team. But you take Malcolm Brogdon, and if you don't want him to be a developmental piece, what you do is that you take him and you trade him to a team, I don't know, to any team, like to a team like the Lakers, let's say, right? The Lakers, even though they have point guards, they don't have that playmaking point guard, which they've been looking for, right? Their point guards are Gabe Vincent, D'Angelo Russell, and maybe Austin Reeves if he's going to run point guard, but they don't really have that real, distributor, which they wanted at point guard for a long time. For the Celtics, this is purely just a deal to make themselves better. We've noticed that the Celtics are cutthroat. The Celtics want to win with Tatum and Brown, and they don't care about anything in between. And that's, in my opinion, is one of the greatest things that the Celtics are, right? We've seen that the fact that they're so relentless with this approach has gotten them Kristaps Porzingis, it's gotten them Malcolm Brogdon, it's gotten them Jrue Holiday. But my problem with the Celtics is how much can you invest in these guys until they stop performing and your bench is trash, right? Because, like, look, let's face it. First, let's talk about how much can you invest in these guys. How much can you realistically invest in this duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown until they disappoint you to the point where you trade them or you just, let them be? Because if we're looking at a team like the Celtics, they're a great team, and every single year they make the right moves. But when you have players who you try to change their environment so consistently, maybe sometimes it's good to just let them figure it out. Like they did with Giannis or like they did with Jokic, where it was like, we're not going to change your teammates. We're going to change things here and there. But with the Celtics, it seems like they change their whole roster every year, and just for them to lose again in the conference finals to a team which is worse than them. But anyway, I mean, apart from that, we could see that the Celtics are a team which have been consistently, making things happen for their stars, and I appreciate them for that. Something that we don't see. Yeah, like, I don't like them to change it that much, but it is cool to see a team which just really wants to win a championship, right? Just will not settle for anything less than that. And for the Celtics, I think this was a great move. Jrue gives you the perimeter defense that you lost with a guy like Marcus Smart, right? Right. It gives you the perimeter defense you lost with Marcus Smart, right? It gives you, and it really just rounds out your roster. Because if we're being honest, right, this is what happened with the Celtics. When they traded for Kristaps, they weren't really planning on anything. They just needed a piece for it to look good for their, superstars to be able to stay. If we're being honest, like, Kristaps is a great player, but Kristaps' trade isn't moving superstars to stay in your roster. So the Kristaps trade was kind of like, a way for the Celtics to get their stars to be like, okay, okay. But then they traded away Marcus Smart. So what they did there was they were like, okay, since we trade away Marcus Smart, now we have this big hole at point guard, which is going to be like Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White. But we don't want that. So what we're going to do is that now we're going to trade for Jrue Holiday, right? And they knew that they couldn't get him off the Bucks. So as soon as this trade hit, like the next day, which is today, they already have them in their roster, which is great, right? So now you just substituted Marcus Smart for a better player, and I'm sorry, he's better, for a championship experienced leader who can actually make good decisions in crunch time and play better perimeter defense than Marcus Smart. And now, instead of having that center core of, Al Horford and Robert Williams, you now have Al Horford, which you need him there for defense. And I'm sorry, the way that he guards Giannis, it's really impressive. And Kristaps Porzingis, which means that now your starting lineup looks like this. You have Jrue Holiday at point guard, Brown at the 2, Tatum at the 3, Al Horford at the 4, right, and Kristaps at the 5. With their stretch system that they run in Boston, that seems phenomenal because they can shoot a bunch of three-pointers. Everyone there can shoot. And it seems like now all they needed was just this push. Now, for the Celtics, the problem is that where is your bench going? I know the Celtics have a knack for developing people, but really you just traded away your entire bench just for Jrue Holiday, right? Like, you had a starting lineup, right? You had Malcolm Brogdon at the 1 or Derek White at the 1, and then you had Robert Williams off the bench. But now, basically, what you said is that, like, to throw away everything that we've said, we're riding with Marcus. No, we're riding with Kristaps and Al Horford. There is nothing in your bench which is good enough to win a championship with that is not Derek White and maybe 1 or 2 more pieces. So I feel like they got to figure their bench out. But that's been my take I really like this trade, if I'm being honest. I think it's just replacing Marcus Smart in a better way. And now, let's see what the Celtics are. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. And I will be taking a break. And I'm sorry for not uploading in the next few days.